Hello, today we are going to learn the nouns. You know what are nouns? Nouns are those things, places, animals, all of them which have name. Everywhere in the world, near about everything has a name. For example, if you are sitting at your house right now, you can see there are lot many things and everything has a name. So actually, noun is naming of anything. For example, I'm standing before this whiteboard. Now it's a board. So it's the name of it. That is the board. It's a noun. And whiteboard, white is its speciality. Same like that. We are going to shoot this entire video here. Now video is a noun. The camera is a noun. The lights, that also a noun. Here a smiley board, that is a noun. The whole world, everywhere, wherever you just see, you can find noun. There are types of noun, but before moving forward, let's again look at some pictures and we can find some examples. For example, this, you can see that there are some names like cat, bat, man, van, red, bed, pen, ten, bin, tin, pin, fin, pot, cot, boy, toy, box, fox, bun, and son. All these are nouns. Your mother, your father, you, your brother, sister, everybody in the world has his or her own name. That is called a noun. Let's look at some more examples. This is a brinjal. This is a potato. See, this is a marigold. This is a rose flower. This is a scooter. This is a banana. This is a pineapple. These are grapes. We have some more examples. Just listen very carefully so that you will be able to answer me. This is a flower. This is lotus. You know, before me there are many things again, like the fan, like the laptop bag, like the pipeline, like the wirings, all these things have their own name. Now you can see that some things have their name, means there are some things which are non-living and there are some things which are living. Living things have their name, non-living thing has their names. Now there are two types of noun, that is common and proper. Now, what is a common noun? Let's look at it. The common noun is a common name of anything. For example, if you are walking on the road and suddenly there's a dog behind you, so you'll cry, "My God, the dog is behind me." Now, see, the dog is a noun. The dog, any dog of that total country or maybe the city, dog is a dog. So it's a common noun. But if the dog has a name, suddenly one person appears from a house and says, "Hey, Moti, come here." So Moti is the proper noun. Moti is the proper noun of that dog. And it is a dog, that's why it is a common noun. See, same like that, we can write many examples. For example, river, mountain, camera, hardboard, and many more. So these are common nouns. You know, now we are going to move towards proper noun. So what is a proper noun? See, the proper noun is a name of something. the special name of anything, like you have your own name. For example, my name is Prashant. See, I'm a boy, I'm a man, but my originality, what is me, what is my identity, that is I am Prashant. People know me as Prashant, so Prashant is a proper noun, right? There are many mountains in the world, but in India we have the specific, that is the Himalaya, that is a proper noun. The height of Himalaya, what is the height of Himalaya? 8,848 meters. So Himalaya is a proper noun. Then there are many, for example, here I have shown you the flower. Now it's a sunflower, so it's a proper noun. Same, it's a pen, but it's a black pen. Now it's a proper noun. Again, this is a bottle, this hand sanitizer bottle. Again, there's a pen, blue pen. You can have many things. For example, I have this, the lock. It's a common noun. Then there's a photo. This photo is a common noun, but the photo belongs to Sai Baba. So it's a photo of Sai Baba. Sai Baba is a proper noun. Okay, my dear friends, let's move on without wasting time. As I told you the definition again. What is a common noun? Common noun is the word which indicates the class, the totality, the group which is indicated by a name, that is the common noun. For example, the cow, the dogs, the bull, the tiger, everything. And then proper. What is proper? Fan, that is common noun. And proper noun, Usha fan. Maybe Crompton fan, that AC. Now see the AC. AC, this AC is of LG, so LG is a proper noun. So likewise, we have seen that when things are given their name, it's commonly known as the common noun, or the common name of it is called a common noun. And when we name it with a proper thing which is there for them only, proper noun is one only. See, for example, here we have to underline the proper nouns and circle the common nouns in the following sentence. Look at it. We are going to see some examples, and with the help of examples, we are going to learn about the proper nouns and the common nouns. We are going to test ourselves. Keep it in your mind that common noun are the names of the common category. We give it to the total category. And what is a proper noun? When we give it to a person, a specific one, that is the proper noun. See, now, example number 1. Sophia is my best friend. Now, in this example, what we have to do? We have been told that to underline the proper nouns. We are going to underline the proper nouns, and we are going to circle the common nouns. So, what do you think? In this sentence, Sophia is my best friend. What do you think? Do you think Sophia is a common noun? I don't agree with you, because friend is also a noun there. Firstly, you have to identify how many nouns are there in the sentence, and then you can move whether it is a common noun or proper noun. So we have encircled 2, that is friend and Sophia. But what the question says? The question says underline the proper noun. So friend is a common noun, so we have circled it. So obviously Sophia will be a proper noun, so we have to underline it. So we are going to underline Sophia. Okay. Now moving to the next one. Chennai is a big city. Now again, Chennai is a noun and city is a noun. Then which one is the common and which one is proper. So Chennai is a name of a place, so it's a proper noun. And city, there are many cities in India, that's why city is a common noun. Next, the river Ganga is in India. Now in this sentence, my dear friends, river is a noun, Ganga is a noun, and India is a noun. If you watch carefully, river, there are many rivers in India. Then there are many rivers in India, but the Ganga is the only one river in India and in the whole world. Ganga is the only river. That's why Ganga is a proper noun. Then India is a country, our homeland. So India is the name of only one nation. So again, it's a proper noun. And river, this river is a common noun. Also somewhat tricky. School is a noun, road is a noun, MG is also a noun. But you know, school, it's a common noun. Road is also a common noun. But MG, it's not a common, it's proper noun. That's why we'll have to move with school and a road. Next, my aunt lives in Canada. Now, aunt, common, and Canada, name of country, only one, proper noun. And everybody has an aunt. So here, aunt and Canada, both words there, and aunt is a common noun, and Canada is a proper noun. My dear friends, the last but not the least, the sentence is, my brother Andrew is a doctor. Now, here, brother is common noun, doctor is common noun, and Andrew is the special proper noun because brother, that is the common noun. Everybody has a brother. And there are so many doctors in Nagpur and the world elsewhere, but Andrew is a special name of somebody, and that's why Andrew is a proper noun. Brother and doctor are common nouns. I hope we have gone through the topic and you must have came to know the difference between proper noun and common noun. So let's move to the next topic after a few moments. Let's move to this topic now. You know, the main topic. You know, everybody in the world just want to say something. When somebody says something, he needs words. And with words, if there's a group of words, we call it as a sentence. So what exactly is a sentence? If we go by the definition, in very simple terms, the sentence is, we can say like this, in simple terms, a sentence is a set of words that contains a subject and a predicate. Now, what is the subject and what is the predicate and how to identify that? You know, it's very simple. If I can say in English grammar, if something is very easy, then it's to identify a subject and a predicate. You know how? How can I say that? See, because subject is the main body of a sentence. Now, subjects can be many, from pronouns to nouns. It can be one word, it can be number of words, and then the predicate. Let's take one example. Look at this simple example. Now, I want to clarify it. That's why I wrote it in the form of the table. See here, it's the table. This first one is sentence. Now we are going to break it into two parts. The first part is subject. The second part is predicate. Now, predicate contains verb. There cannot be any predicate without verb. One has to keep verb and then the predicate will happen. See, the subject, you. Now the sentence is you speak English. Now here, you is the subject and speak, obviously it's a verb, and English the remaining part of the sentence. Now I can tell you, if you replace you, this one, with I, they, we, like, then the sentence will be same. For example, look here, you speak English, okay, I speak English, they speak English, we speak English. You know, if you change this you with the another pronoun, the sentence will be same. What we have to do, we have to identify the sentence one side and the predicate other side. So the subject is you and the remaining part is predicate. So easy. What you have to do, you have to identify the subject. For example, if I want to go for a longer sentence, because it's a small, simple sentence. If I want to go for a long sentence, then the sentence will be, the soldiers of Indian Army marched on the Red Fort. Just take it as a sentence. The soldiers of Indian Army marched. Now, the soldiers of Indian Army, this total is a subject. And marched, from march onward, that is a predicate. See, like here, the longer sentences, the one which I was talking about. Ram and Tara speak English when they are working. Now here, Ram and Tara, we can underline it. See, Ram and Tara, this is subject. And the remaining one, all, don't bother about it. It's a predicate. See, it's easy. Then the next one, he opened the door. Now, he again is the subject and opened the door, predicate. Do you like coffee? Now here, do you? This one, subject. Like coffee, predicate. Now, while doing all this, you have to keep only one thing in your mind. That's the verb. If you know where the verb is, from verb including verb, the remaining part is a predicate and the first part is a subject. Normally it happens. Okay, my dear friends, so this is the thing we have seen, and once again let's rewind. What is the subject? In simple terms, a sentence is a set of words which has a subject and a predicate. Now we have seen two examples. The first one was a simple one, you speak English. Then the longer sentence, Ram and Tara speak English when they are working. Just be very clear whether the sentence is shorter or longer. That doesn't make any difference. What makes the difference is the subject. If you can identify the subject, then you can identify the predicate very easily. Okay, so I hope you must have got it. If there's any query, we can go onwards. Okay, we were studying about subject and predicate. You know, there are some words which are, incomplete. So without subject and predicate, no sentence can be complete. For example, many people work. What's this? This sentence is not complete. Actually, it's not a sentence. See, a group of words which makes complete sense with subject and a predicate is called a sentence. Now, regarding this, let's move on towards the types of sentences. These are based on their purposes, As you know, there are four types of sentences. The first one is declarative, then interrogative, then imperial, and then exclamative or exclamatory. See, this word itself tells about their own speciality. This is declaration, to tell something in a very simple manner. So this can also be called as statement. Then the next one, interrogative. One by one we are going to take their introduction as well as their speciality. Once again, declarative, that is a declaration. It can be a statement, it can be assertion. So there are three names. And my dear friends, as far as declaration is concerned, we can say that there's a full stop after the sentence. That is the declaration. Okay, we are going to take some sentences as well, as Ram lives in India. Now in this sentence, Ram lives in India, there's a full stop at the end. So it's a declaration, it's a statement, right? I'm going to Bombay, it's a declaration. So that after the sentence there will be a question mark. If we are moving to interrogative questions, interrogative means the questions. If you watch the movies, especially the South Indian movies, you can see that the police catches the thieves and come with them at the police station, and in the police station there's a room called interrogation room. See, interrogation means to ask something, to get some information. So interrogation, that is interrogative sentences. In these sentences we ask questions, right? There are two types of questions based on purposes. So WH questions and verbal questions. We are going to tell about both. Let's move on. Then imperative sentence or imperial. Now this imperial sentence, if you ask something to the next person, then it's imperial sentence. For example, give me that bottle. Obviously, it's very clear when I am asking, give me that bottle, it means you have to give me that bottle. The you is understood. In imperial sentence, it starts with a verb, right? So at that point, we can say that it's an imperial sentence. Then what about exclamation? The main important quality of exclamation or exclamatory sentence, you can see that there's a sign of exclamation mark. Now one by one, we will go for it. The first one, the statement. See the word order. Especially the word order is very, very important. See, the word order in statement is subject and verb. As we seen in the last periods that sometime before we have seen, just a few moments back, we have seen that I, you, he, she, it, they, Ram, Sita, anybody can be the subject. And then what about the verb? All the actions, different type of words which reflect action can be the verb. Like Ram plays, Sita goes, Mama comes, I drink water, you go to America, he goes to England, something like that, So this is a word order. Then moving on next, it can be positive and negative both. See, we have written one example over here. It will be helpful for you people to understand it in a better way. So statement can be positive as well as negative. Now here, if you see, I like coffee. It's a positive sentence. I like coffee. You can say anything, but it should be sensible. You will say that I like almari. It's not possible. You will have to say something sensible. So I like coffee. Here, it's a positive sentence. If you want to make it negative, the very basic thing is just put down the not word before it, but here, because this is a positive sentence, we have to understand that there's a do, and that's why the sentence will be I do not like coffee. in the same manner, if we look here at the interrogative sentences, as I told you that there are two types of it. See the word order. We have written WH word, X auxiliary plus subject and verb. See now WH word, you know, we people have a habit of talking and asking questions. Especially in India, if something happens, people leave their work and rush to that particular place and say, "Kai zala, kai zala." You know, people go like this. What happened? Who came? When came? Where came? Why came? All those. So all those are questions. So those questions, all your books are filled with these WH word questions. The questions which start with WH are called WH questions. There's only one exception, that is how. How is also a WH question, but all others are WH questions. For example, the very simple, what is your name? Then what can be your profession? Or what do your father do? Or there are many more questions. Then the next question, if you are angry, then your friend will ask you, why are you angry? Then the next question may be, where do you live? Where is the program? There are many questions like it. You know, this is the order how we should go. Now, as far as the verbal question is concerned, see, the verbal question always claims to have the answer in yes or no. Here, we are going for both positive and negative. See, if you want to ask somebody, do you like coffee? Obviously, he will say yes or no. Now, there are some people who will say, I like chum chum. That's not a case. If one wants to answer, he will have to answer in yes or no. Then if we want to make it negative, there's nothing, just add not in it. Don't you like coffee? The question is actually positive, but it is in negative form. Next, why did you go? Why didn't you go? Both are the questions. One is in positive form, second is in negative form. Then the next one, the imperative sentences. Imperative or imperial, the sentences here, the basic and the main, very important thing, my dear friends, please keep it in your mind that these sentences always start with a verb. You know, verb is the base of this sentence. It starts with a verb. For example, give me a glass of water. Shut the door, close the window, open the camera, switch on the light, meaning it starts with the base. And it is expected, when I say close the door, it is expected that you should close the door. You is understood in this whole process. Okay, now the last one, that is the exclamatory or exclamative. Here we can identify when it is sudden action, when we say something suddenly, that is the sudden expression, it is called the exclamatory sentence. For example, what a beautiful girl Aishwarya is. Now, what a beautiful girl Aishwarya is. So Aishwarya is very beautiful. It's a simple sentence. Or maybe somebody, anybody can be beautiful. But to say it superbly in a manner, this pattern is very useful, where we say, what a beautiful girl Aishwarya is or somebody is. So there will be an exclamation mark after it. I hope that these things which we discussed from last 10 or more minutes or so about nouns, about the sentences, the sentence pattern, and everything. I hope I may have answered most of your queries, my dear friends. I hope that these things will help you to swim through the world of English or through this world of English ocean. When we'll meet next time, we'll go much forward, and this will be the base. Just one tip for you people as I go. If you want to speak English fluently without any hesitation, the first thing, start speaking. Don't bother whether you are speaking correct or incorrect, doesn't matter. These things will help you out, but when? Firstly, you will have to speak. So, my dear friends, learn this as well as try to speak, try to use words which are there everywhere. Okay, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed my session. Thanks a lot.